This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Mike Irwin from Pig Trail Nation. We got him right here on our McClarty Daniel hotline. And it's been like 3 Mondays since we had a show. So we haven't talked with Mike since just before Christmas. Mike, how was your New Year and how you doing?
You know, I've had some kind of weird head cold for like 2.5 weeks. It's not progressing. It's in my head. It doesn't go to my chest or anything else. And I don't know what's going on. Taking all the medicine and all that. But other than that, I'm just rolling along. It's
probably because you hadn't been on our show. You need vitamin H every Monday. You'll feel much better once you're done with this segment. Mike, where are we going to go with it? You want to talk national championship game first, or you want to talk about the worst game ever played at Bud Walton Arena?
Hey, it's your show, guys. Whatever you want.
What do you say, Matt? Basketball first.
Let's get the bad out of the way, then go to the good. Mike, the basketball team. You've seen. You're hearing a lot if it's lack of effort, lack of passion. I think it's a lack of talent. I just don't think they're that good. I think this is Coach Muss's least athletic team he's had since he's been here. I do not see this team making the tournament. Am I overreacting?
Yeah, I don't know. You certainly could make that argument. Where I see a real issue is a lack of physicality. If you look at the OU game and the Auburn game, they were very similar in that they went up against an opponent that was just very, very physical, and they stayed with them for a while, but especially in the second half, it looked like they just quit. It's like we can't stay with these guys. And I think there's a definite problem inside defensively. If the other team's got a strong inside game, who's going to stop them? Makhi Mitchell would be the only guy that's kind of a big power forward type, and he's not playing well. I don't know what's wrong with him. He's always been a hot and cold guy, but this season in particular, maybe it's the fact that his brother's not there anymore. I don't know, but he just seems to be very non-aggressive with the ball. He won't go in, and when he does, he doesn't seem confident. And then defensively, he's just standing there. So that's a big issue. So there's where your talent issue to me goes. I don't know, up front, yeah, you probably got one guard right now that's really out there making things happen, and that's not good. I'm not saying they can't put it together. You don't beat Duke and Purdue without talent, but where does that talent go? Why does it vanish from time to time? And is it just a bad mix of guys? Sometimes you can get guys that just, they're kind of here and they're out to have a good time, and they don't get focused for a game or whatever, and then they just kind of give up. I mean, people talk about culture. And how these days of the portal, how do you develop culture when you've got one guy that's been here for his whole time, and then the others are kind of been here last year? So how do they transmit that culture to these new guys? And to me, it hasn't happened. So I'm not sure. It doesn't look good down the road. They're about to go play a Georgia team that the problem I see with that game is they've got one 7-foot center that's not a scorer, but he is a rebounder. And then they play a 4-guard lineup. 2 of those guys go 6'7" and 6'8", and that's going to be a bad matchup with Arkansas's guards.
That's what I noticed. I think coach's biggest portal miss was letting Jordan Walsh be a second-round pick. You have him come back leading the team in minutes if he was back, and then he's a lottery pick this next year. To your point, Mike, we're small on the perimeter. Our guards they're a lot smaller than they were last year.
Yeah, and again, even go beyond that, go talk about Florida, which is the next road game they face. My goodness, those guys, they got 2 guards, that can just flat play. And that's the problem. You're going to play Georgia, you're going to play Florida. Both of those teams are loaded with guards, and Florida also has a couple of big men inside. They almost beat Kentucky. I thought they were going to win that game. I think Georgia's the most winnable of those two. They've got to win that game somehow because you don't want to come back 0-3. The problem this year, guys, is there are more good SEC teams. There's at least 11 that I look at that are NCAA capable, and I don't think 11 are going to get in. So that leaves maybe 2 or 3 out. And right now, Arkansas looks like one of those that are out. And then what's going to happen? You know, people going to adjust to the NIT again? I don't think so. But it is what it is. I do think when you rebuild every year like this, this is bound to happen. Because when you're bringing guys in out of the portal, well, you're watching them play maybe. You're looking at stats, but you don't know them that well. You don't know them till they get here. And maybe you just got a bad mix of guys this year.
So much is focused on the wins that you'd mentioned against Duke and Purdue, and why does this happen when it's so obvious that when they play well, when they play at their best, they can beat some of the best teams in the country. But the problem is if you're going to do that, you've got to do it over a full 40 minutes. And right now they're having trouble putting a half together. You know, you can look, there were even flat look. I mean, they had a great 8-point run. They played a pretty decent first 10, 12 minutes. You know, most of that first half, actually. But it's just things kind of switch immediately sometimes, and they just look passive. They looked passive offensively. They looked passive defensively. And you can't get away with those kind of stretches. Not the way that this team plays right now. They got to be at their best. But here's maybe one way to look at it and try to put a little, not sunshine, but a little crack in the sky is, That was them at their worst. We just saw them at their worst. I don't think it can get worse than this past Saturday.
Basketball is a really strange sport. I realize I'm talking women here, but how do you explain what the women did to Georgia yesterday?
I know.
It's just strange. I mean, they just, all the stuff they haven't been doing, they started doing. I mean, they were making threes, but they were going inside and scoring and being physical and playing physical defense, things they don't normally do. And you ask yourself, it's like, couldn't you get that video of the Duke game and the Purdue game and show it to these guys and go, look at you here and look at you here. What is going on here? I don't know. I don't play basketball. I've never been at that level, but I'm telling you, there's something that happens out there that game to game, Arkansas is not the only team that just suddenly collapses and gets the crap beat out of them. I see it happen a lot, but it doesn't make it any better if you're a Hog fan and you're watching that happen.
Mike, Michigan wins the game tonight if they do what? Give me a reason why Michigan wins and give me a reason why Washington wins.
They're just going to have to play like they played against Alabama. It's their defense. I mean, they have to score, obviously, but they've got such a good defense. And I think they'll win. I kind of don't like them. I don't know why. I mean, I'm not really kind of like either one of these teams gets me fired up. I really like Washington's quarterback. And although I didn't vote for him in the Heisman, but now I'm thinking if they did it later, I might have. But I just think defense is the difference in this game.
Is it that Washington doesn't have that kind of defense? Because, man, I mean, I think about some of the Washington strengths against what Alabama's strength was offensively. And they tried to keep, and they did keep, Milroe in the pocket successfully. Penix is so good in the pocket. Milroe is not. Alabama's true. Receivers have trouble getting open this year.
Best receivers they've played all year
are some of the best. Yeah. So there is a bit of a counter to that.
Yeah, I'm not saying you could go either way on this if you sat around and analyzed it for an hour. But it's just a gut instinct. I don't know. I don't like them.
Isn't it nice to feel that way about a college football championship game? Because we don't always feel that. Nobody felt that way last year. Nobody did. Sure, you knew exactly the direction that game was going to go.
Yeah, and you know, around here, people tend to zone out if it's not an SEC team, but it is what it is. This was the year in which the SEC kind of went, what's going on with the league? I mean, it started at the very beginning. Now, the question is, does it continue? I don't know, but it wasn't a good year for the SEC, and they got humbled a little bit, and now you don't have an SEC team in the championship game, and that doesn't happen very often.
I know some of the additions the football team made out of the portal over the weekend. Got a cornerback out of South Alabama, one of the top running backs in the portal, kid from Utah.
I like the kid from you. He's kind of reminds me of the kid from Missouri. He's a one-cut downhill type of guy. I like that kid from Utah.
And got maybe the best defensive lineman in at the FCS level. What else do you think Arkansas needs to get out of the portal before it's too late?
Well, they need linebackers because they've gotten one, and he didn't play a whole lot. And so you're relying on they brought in 3 high school guys. One of them is top 14, and that's it. I'm told that they may actually wait until after spring football to try and bring in maybe 2 more. That's the thing that still I'm scratching my head over. Obviously, Travis Williams got really ticked off at those guys. That's what I'm told. They wanted to keep Pooh Paul, but the others, he was just done with them. I mean, they let him down. I mean, we were used to the offense having problems all year, but he really didn't like what happened in those last 3 SEC home games. So now you got to start all over, and that's where the question is to me. I think there's some interesting things to look at in the spring. You know, it's now obvious that Petrino targeted the kid from Boise State. He tried to recruit him back when he was at Missouri State as the head coach. He sees some things he likes in him. Okay, we're going to get a chance in just about less than 3 months to watch that take place. That's going to be interesting. They've added a speed component to the wide receiver room. Football players generally, or track guys generally don't impact football at Arkansas. They just never have. But this kid is legitimate, the kid out of A&M. They didn't use him much last year. He's a 10-200-meter guy. You understand 10-200 meters? That's not 10-6, which is what we're used to. This guy runs in the 4.2s, not the 4.3s, the 4.2s. So you want to see what he can do. What I know about Petrino's offense is he gets with receivers wide open. I went back and looked at that Missouri State game from 2 years ago. When they scored, there were guys just nobody was around him, and that's what he did when he was at Arkansas. So you like the idea of having some speed in the wide receiver room with what he does. Some people have questioned, and I guess as of right now, they still haven't named this receivers coach, but everybody says, it's the guy out of Missouri State who's never coached wide receivers, and how could you bring in a guy that's never coached receivers? I remember when Petrino was here, and we got to watch all of August camp, the whole practice. He was out there working with the quarterbacks. He was working with the receivers. He was working with the running backs. He coaches about 3 different positions out there. So I don't have any worries in that respect. It's just going to be interesting to see. When I talk to people that are discouraged, I say, ask yourself who you feel better about right now as the offensive coordinator. To me, that's the difference.
BetOnline is your #1 source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use our promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts.